Imagine waking up one day and realizing the life you're living isn't actually yours. Like you somehow drifted into a version of yourself that was never meant to exist. And every morning your mind whispers something you keep ignoring. But today, right now, in this moment, that whisper gets louder because the truth is your life has been calling you. And you've been pressing silent without even noticing it. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit like and subscribe to FinancialRealityOffical so you never miss the kind of content that can genuinely help you shift your life in a real way, not just motivational noise, but the actual wake-up signals that so many people overlook until it's too late. The funny thing is, most of the signs that your life is trying to redirect you don't show up as big dramatic explosions. They show up as subtle discomfort. Small frustrations, that nagging feeling in your chest when you read doing something that doesn't align with who you really are. You ignore it because it seems harmless, or you're too busy, or you tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But later keeps stretching. Days turn into months, months into years, and then one day you wonder why nothing feels right anymore. That's how life works. It nudges you before it pushes you, and it pushes you before it forces you. And if you keep ignoring those nudges, life eventually puts you in situations where you have no choice but to listen. But you don't need it to get that far. You don't need the breakdown before the breakthrough. You just need to notice what's already happening inside you. Think about it. How many times have you convinced yourself you refine when you weren't? How many times have you stayed somewhere, stayed with someone, or stayed in a mindset that drained you because leaving felt harder? People underestimate how heavy it is to carry a life that doesn't fit them anymore. One of the first signs your life is calling is when the things you used to tolerate start to feel unbearable. Not because something suddenly changed, but because you finally started waking up. Your soul gets tired before your body does. And that exhaustion isn't solved with sleep. It's solved with alignment. And maybe you don't talk about it because you don't want to sound ungrateful. You've been taught to be thankful for what you have. And yes, gratitude matters, but it's not the opposite of growth. You can be grateful and still crave more. You can appreciate your life while knowing it's time to level up. That doesn't make you greedy. It makes you honest. Most people live on autopilot, doing what they're supposed to do instead of what they were made to do. And autopilot doesn't feel scary, it feels comfortable. But comfort is where dreams quietly die. The truth is, discomfort is not your enemy. It's your compass. Your frustration is trying to tell you something. Your boredom is trying to wake you up. Your burnout is trying to send you a message. Your life doesn't speak in sentences. It speaks in feelings. And when something feels off, it is off. You might not know what needs to change yet. And that's okay. Most people don't figure out the what before they acknowledge the why. And the why usually starts with the realization that you're re-shrinking yourself to make your current environment feel more comfortable. Think about how many times you've watered yourself down, held back your ideas, pretended you didn't care, or stayed silent just to avoid conflict. That's not peace. That's self-abandonment. Another sign your life is calling you is when you keep imagining a different version of yourself. One that feels more confident, more fulfilled, more alive. That vision doesn't come from nowhere. It's not random. It's a preview of what's possible. It's your future self, trying to get your attention. And you can ignore it for a while, but not forever. Because every time you picture that better version and then go back to living like it, impulsively you create internal tension that eventually becomes unbearable. And that tension is a message. You're meant for more. Your future self isn't mad at you, but he is waiting for you. And if you're hearing this right now, maybe it's because you're closer to that next level than you think. People often assume life's signs come from outside an opportunity, a person, a lucky break. But most of the time, the signs come from within. When you start losing interest in the things that once distracted you, that's a sign. When your old habits stop giving you the temporary comfort they used to, that's a sign. When you start craving alone time just to think, that's a sign. When the life you built starts feeling too small for who you're becoming, that's a sign. And the scariest part, isn't that the signs are subtle. The scary part is how easily you learn to live without listening to them. People stay in jobs they hate for 20 years because they ignore the signs. People stay in relationships that drain them because they ignore the signs. People silence their creativity because they're scared of judgment. People silence their ambition because they're scared of failing. But life doesn't care how scared you are. It only cares whether you're paying attention. You don't need to have everything figured out to start moving forward. You just need to stop pretending you're okay with staying stuck. Sometimes the smallest step is enough to change your entire direction. And sure, maybe you've been waiting for a perfect moment. But let me tell you something real. The perfect moment doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives disguised as a quiet realization that you deserve better. And you do deserve better. You deserve a life where you don't dread Monday. You deserve a life where you wake up excited instead of exhausted. You deserve a life where you don't have to pretend to be someone else just to fit in. You deserve a life that feels like it belongs to you. And I know it sounds simple, but the moment you stop ignoring the signs, new doors start opening. You start meeting people who match your growth instead of your wounds. You start attracting opportunities instead of forcing them. You start feeling lighter because you're finally walking toward something instead of away from yourself. And even if the path is uncomfortable at first, that discomfort is proof you're evolving. Growth doesn't feel good in the beginning. It feels unfamiliar. But unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong. It means new. It means necessary. The question is, how long will you keep delaying the life that's meant for you? Because every time you ignore the signs, you choose comfort over calling. And every time you choose comfort, you dim the very part of you that could change your entire future. The truth is, your life has been trying to get your attention for a long time. This video, ISNTN, accident. Your thoughts lately aren't random. Your restlessness isn't meaningless. You're shifting. You're outgrowing old patterns, old people, old versions of yourself. And outgrowing something isn't betrayal, it's evolution. So maybe today is the day you finally stop ignoring what your life has been trying to tell you. Maybe today is the day you take responsibility for the future you want, not the one you settled for. And maybe today is the day you decide that fear can't control you anymore. Before we wrap this up, I want you to drop a comment below and tell me which sign resonated with you the most. Because your response might be the message someone else needs to read. And if you feel like someone in your life is going through the same silent struggle, share this video with them too. You never know whose life you might shift with one small action. Thanks for watching FinancialRealityOffical, and remember, your life is calling. The only question is, are you done ignoring it?